Hi, my name is Arjun Puri. I'm the co-founder and chief technology officer of Luxsonic Technologies. Luxsonic Technologies creates immersive solutions for healthcare and medicine. We empower the healthcare industry with improved access to education, clinical hands-on training and assessment, and virtual care delivery. So our solution, SieVRt, which is a digital twin of the radiology reading room, is improving access to workflow for clinicians. The demand for medical imaging is far outstripping the supply. That means that there are constant backlogs of medical images that need to be read and reported by radiologists. These images are very important to disease diagnosis, treatment, and more. By improving access to workflow for radiologists, radiologists have the freedom to be able to work from anywhere and interpret and diagnose images from anywhere. That means that patients can get faster turnaround times for their cases, radiologists have better work-life balance, and overall the system becomes a little bit more sustainable. Creating just an application is not a compelling enough reason for someone to try and shift to a new medium, such as virtual reality. Understanding your customer and the fact that you're solving a problem for them goes a long way into helping them understand the benefits of a new medium and how it can play a role in their life. So that's one. Another thing is helping understand what your business model is. Who's going to be the one paying for your product? Is it going to be your end user? Especially in the healthcare space, it's not necessarily always the end user who will be paying for your product. So it's helpful to understand whether you're going to be involved with health systems, insurers, or other reimbursers who might be looking to pay for your product to empower their end user with the benefits of that solution. And finally, understanding your time to market, I think, is really important. Once you have an idea of the iterative journey that your VR solution needs to take, you have a better idea of your milestones throughout the product commercialization journey, all the way out to, hey, my product is now in the hands of my clients. Working backwards from that goal really helps you understand the key milestones that you'll have to hit, whether those are regulatory milestones, whether those are end user testing milestones. But having an idea of what that journey looks like ahead of time helps you plan and stick to that plan. On the commercialization journey for a virtual reality solution, we found that one of the points of hindrance for Luxsonic had been the introduction of virtual reality to the healthcare industry. It is a medium that is relatively new from its availability at a commercial level. Now, we know that virtual reality solutions and hardware has existed for decades, 30, 40 years plus, starting with the sword of Damocles with the hanging down virtual reality headset back in the day. But today, I think what's changed is the appetite for new solutions. As the frontline and other healthcare professionals in the healthcare system continue to manage the various increasing workloads throughout their departments, it's really important to understand how virtual reality will make a difference for them. But it is a brand new medium. Oftentimes, healthcare systems don't understand how they would operationalize these products throughout their organizations and to their end users and how to support them. So there is an education effort, and informing your clients, empowering them with that knowledge helps reassure them and helps them understand better the implementation journey that they must take in order to have a successful deployment and continued adoption. Pre-purchase, some of the challenges that we see with our organizational partners that they experience before they're ready to purchase a product or a solution is an understanding of whether they have experience deploying immersive modalities and immersive mediums at their organization before. IT departments at hospitals, at medical imaging clinics, and other organizations have been around for decades, and they are supporting the backbone and the infrastructure in that organization. But if those experts have not had experience managing and deploying XR products at their institution, it can be a bit daunting, especially if you don't know the key challenges in being able to support your end users with that product. So our approach to this has been to be able to offer our solutions in two different models. One where you would have a complete managed service and platform approach, where we would provide the hardware, the software, as well as all the support associated with it, so that your IT departments at that organization don't need to take on additional technical debt or additional organizational overhead of being able to support those end users. Luxsonic will provide comprehensive support, leveraging our experience in the XR space of over 5 years. Now that's one aspect of it. The other aspect of it we talked about earlier, which was understanding how you can deploy solutions to scale at the healthcare level, at your IT department level as well. So being able to leverage MDMs, especially on virtual reality and XR products, is really important for you to be able to maintain uniformity across your user base at the healthcare institution that you're working with. And that uniformity is essential for you to be able to provide that support at an organizational level. So that education, that buy-in and championship that we talked about that's needed at the clinical champion level, it's also needed at the information technology level as well. So you've got, IT champions who understand the benefits and some of the pitfalls in managing some of the XR products that are on the market today. One of the things that tends to be a big miss for solutions is a focus on how realistic your 3D assets in your virtual reality solution need to be for you to be able to hit home the value proposition of your product. Let me give you an example. In the training space, you can offer someone a virtual reality solution that offers them training for procedural skills or for technique. In technique, realisticness, the accuracy of 3D models, your environment matters a whole lot more when you might, as opposed to teaching someone a procedure. So understanding how realistic you need to make your environment and all the 3D assets in your virtual reality application is really important, because you could go so far into the level or the world of making things very realistic that there's a point of diminishing returns where after a certain point, your end users may not notice or gain the benefits of that extra 50, 100, or 200 hours that you put into refining the textures or the shaders or the lighting on that one model. One of the biggest misses that I've seen other industry partners and other industry members make throughout their commercialization journey is, in the clinical space, you need a clinical champion. And being able to identify that clinical champion and helping them understand the benefits of your solution and how they will improve their life reverberates and creates a rippling effect in the healthcare system. So to be able to identify and build a strong relationship with your clinical champion, taking their feedback into account for your product and ensuring that that clinical champion's opinions and their expert advice is taken into account as you continue to iterate on your product to bring it to market is absolutely essential. And without that, it can be often very difficult to enter the healthcare space. Creating or identifying champions is all part of relationships. And that's what life is all about, building relationships. And it's important to ensure that there is a genuine fit for your product somewhere else, because you don't want to be in a situation where there's an artificial fit for your product and it goes through an implementation, but ultimately it doesn't deliver on the value proposition that your champion is really looking for. So building those relationships, getting to really know your clinical champion, understanding what their challenges are and how it impacts their life, their family life, their professional life, their collegial life is really important for you to understand in the process of identifying and supporting your clinical champion. In building a virtual reality solution that scales, we start with the fundamentals. If your solution, especially if it's intended for the healthcare market, is intended to integrate with other clinical information systems, it must be built from the ground up, trying to observe those standards. And you must have an understanding of how those standards will play in the ability of your product to interface with those other clinical information systems. Hospital systems and healthcare systems in general use a variety of different clinical informatics solutions and systems that help them store and manage a variety of different types of patient information. Examples of those can be a laboratory information system, a electronic medical record, a radiology information system. So it's important for you to understand how your solution will interface with those products. That's, I think, one of the things. Some other complexities that are also part of the commercialization journey are understanding, especially in the healthcare market, if your product is intending to collect or store any personal health information of your patients. That will help drive a variety of policy and internal management decisions around training your staff, as well as building your product in a way that securely holds or has a process for the deletion and the management of that personal health information. I think once you have that understanding, it makes it a little bit easier for you to understand the compliance, privacy, and security requirements that your product will need in order for it to be successfully deployed in the healthcare space. Finally, regulatory is another component and complexity of bringing products that are medical devices across the globe are regulated in a way that they must be able to prove their effectiveness and safety as it's being used in a healthcare space. In order to do that, manufacturers or developers of solutions may find themselves needing a quality management system, a risk management system, the implementation of ISO at their organization, and ensuring that their staff is well trained. Identifying that early in your commercialization journey and understanding if that's going to have an impact on your product is absolutely essential as a complexity to address in the commercialization journey. When building your product and understanding its requirements for scale, it's really important for you to understand how your device and your software on that device is going to be managed in the long run. That's where MDMs or mobile device management solutions really play a critical role. For you to be able to provide your end users and your organizations that you're going to be supporting with comprehensive support in order for them to be able to successfully adopt your product, it's very important for you to be able to push out updates to your software directly to the client without them needing to plug it into another PC and get updates that way. So mobile device management solutions are really important to help deliver that in a frictionless way so that your end user can get into your headset, quickly press an update button, and now your application is updated and available with all its new benefits and all its new features. In addition to that, it's really important in the healthcare space for you to be able to manage security of a device. Aspects like remote locking, being able to report a device stolen, and being able to wipe it remotely are also really important in the healthcare space. So these components are inherently and natively requirements of an MDM that is necessary in the healthcare space, and to make deployment of your solutions at scale more manageable without necessarily needing a team of 100 support agents. We're using HTC's device management system at the moment. We find that, at least for now, it allows us to hit home on the key requirements of our clients with respect to software seeding and being able to give them support on the overall system. So being able to monitor whether it's online, being able to manage updates that you're pushing to a headset. Because remember, we want uniformity at scale. So you don't want to be in a situation where 30% of your end users are on version 1, while another 70% of your users are using version 2.0. That creates challenges and potential conflicts within your end user community to be able to use varying products with various procedures or workflows. When I look at the virtual reality headset landscape and the XR landscape of HMDs, HTC is doing the right things. In moving from generation to generation of headsets, miniaturization is absolutely very important. But another key component is understanding standard interfaces that exist in the space that are proliferating at a rate that is incomparable to being able to use something proprietary. So let me give you an example. USB-C charging for headsets makes life a whole lot easier because now you don't need to carry a proprietary charger with you. Being able to support standards like OpenXR at the SDK level makes things a whole lot easier for developers because they can develop for a variety of different HMDs using similar code and similar foundations. So those are two aspects there, absolutely. But I think taking it a step further, the integration of biometrics into HMDs is looking to be super promising and something that customers and partners have been asking us for. So I think as we start to see miniaturization continue, devices get lighter, the ergonomics are certainly improving, but some of those other components that I mentioned are also going to help maintain sustained adoption and continued use of HMDs. At the moment, Luxsonic does not collect any biometric data from their end users. But that's because we are focused on creating the perfect workflow for our end users at this moment. However, we envision a future, and it is in our roadmap, to do more with biometric integration into the workflow of our end users. For example, being able to use eye tracking cameras gives you the ability to be able to give your end user feedback on what they're doing while they're in virtual reality or using your solution. Whether that be, time spent on a region of interest on a medical image, or whether that is, time spent in a particular area of a virtual reality environment. It helps you capture metrics that can be correlated back to key performance indicators for your clients. So that's absolutely one. Another aspect that we're really looking forward to is hand tracking. Being able to offer that sort of capability and the freedom from using other peripherals such as keyboard and mice and controllers really gives you the ability to have more freedom, carry less with you, while still being able to effectively interact with various components in your immersive application. So biometrics, absolutely, but also integrating biometrics as well as real-life tracking capabilities together creates for a really powerful experience. One of the critical workflows in medical imaging departments is the education and training of residents and medical students who are going to be the next generation of radiologists. Traditionally, these students and these trainees don't have access to a home workstation or a home reading room, which means that they have, at least outside of the hospital space, limited access to those key workflows that the radiologists are using every day. Being able to provide them a relatively cost-effective solution inside of a portable XR headset, such as the HTC XR Elite, not only improves access to that workflow, but when you look at our medical education workflows and you combine them with our collaboration workflows in SieVRt, you have this fantastic power of collaboration that wasn't available to residents before. Residents can now use self-directed education workflows in SieVRt and combine them using our collaboration module to enable directed workflows, group-based learning. And these workflows have not existed outside of the in-person context before. So now, instead of trying to figure out, hey, 5 residents in a group are looking to meet together at the library and study together for an exam, and primarily that education happens at a case-based level. So radiologists learn by looking at cases and identifying disease in those medical images. And over time, as they interpret and read additional cases in medical images, they become better at that pattern recognition. But in order for them to be able to do that, they need access to a workstation, not only at the hospital, but also at their training and learning spaces. And one of the places that residents learn and train is absolutely their home. So being able to give them access to those workflows in their home really improves their access to training workflows and also staff radiologists. Our medical education and training workflows are actually fundamental in SieVRt because it's absolutely essential to train the next generation of radiologists effectively and ensure that they feel empowered and ready to practice as soon as they exit residency and transition to practice. There's a variety of components that are involved in clinical rotations and understanding interdisciplinary subjects and concepts that I don't think XR will be able to replace, but I certainly think that through the introduction of XR solutions like SieVRt, radiologists who are entering into practice will be more confident than their counterparts who haven't had access to those solutions. Because they'll have access to those workflows in more areas than they've ever had before, I strongly believe that the level of confidence as well as the preparedness of those clinicians who are entering into practice will be far improved in comparison to their counterparts who haven't had access to those types of solutions before.